And we're live with Be Green with Amy.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Be Green with Amy. I'm Amy. After adopting a whole food plant-based lifestyle, my hubby Rick and I lost over 130 pounds. Now I coach others on their plant-based journey. Just Task Voice. Let's welcome our guest.
Since adopting a whole food plant-based lifestyle in 2012, Shada Soleimani has lost close to 120 pounds. Shada teaches culinary techniques on how to prepare delicious meals using fresh, whole foods without compromising flavor. Gustavo Tuloso, a doctor of musical arts and the plant-powered pianist, lost over 70 pounds and regained his health through a whole food plant-based diet. Please click like to help Be Green with Amy. Welcome, Shada Soleimani and Gustavo Tuloso.
Well, greetings, Green Warriors, and welcome, Gustavo.
Thank you. Thank you. This is exciting to be here, Amy. Thank you.
So I wanted to let you know, Green Warriors, that we were also expecting Shada, but at the last moment, she was not able to come on with us. She has been on the broadcast a couple of times, and I'll put links to those times that she did wonderful recipe demos, and hopefully she'll be able to come back again another time. I would love to have had both of them together because, as we're going to learn about later, they both have written a wonderful cookbook together, and it's got lots of wonderful recipes. Gustavo is going to share recipes with us today. I wanted to ask you, Green Warriors, do you want to transform your health with delicious plant-powered recipes? Because you're in the right place. Because today, Gustavo is going to tell us about his plant-powered journey, and he's going to share some recipes with us as well. So let us know in the chat if you have seen this recipe book, which I need to go, and I had it over here because I was looking at it earlier, but I'm going to show you. And this is the wonderful book. I'm so excited to learn more about it because it's got some, I've already looked through it, and it's got some great recipes. So I wanted to, first of all, I'm going to start off with our true or false question. Oh, Gina said, Gustavo, you look fabulous.
I love you, Gina. Thank you. Appreciate it. Plants, you know.
That's right. I'm telling you, even because we're getting all these colorful fruits and vegetables, it really affects the quality and the coloring of our skin, right?
It does. No question.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is we're going to start off with our game of true or false.
It's time for True or False on Be Green with Amy Live. Answer true or false to Amy's questions in the comments below, and Amy will ask our guest for the expert answer.
I love that music. Gets me in a happy dancing kind of mood. Okay. So, true or false? Gustavo will be demonstrating two recipes today, one of which was originally planned to be done by his co-author, Shada Soleimani. So what do you think, Green Warriors? What do you think is going to be happening today? And while you're typing in your guess, Gustavo, tell us the answer.
It's true. So I will be Shada and Gustavo at the same time.
I'm telling you that takes a lot of courage because, well, I'm not a very courageous person in the kitchen anyway. I have a YouTube playlist called Hey, I Can Make That, because that's kind of the recipes that I go for, is just a couple of ingredients and hopefully not involving any heat because I get very easily distracted and I could burn something. But so that's what I like to do. Oh, and Mona said true. Yeah. And Roxy said true. Yep, you're right. That's very true. That's what's going to be happening today. So, and why don't you tell us the recipes that you're going to be making?
Well, the one by Shada on page 88 is the black bean mango salad. It has other ingredients, but those are the main ingredients. And then I will be making my it's become my staple. It's my green mixture that I call menjunje, and I can talk about that later. But it's the way that we get our greens in every day for the nitric oxide, so we can heal our arteries and be and have our hearts happy.
Well, that's wonderful. And I'm so glad that you pronounced that word for me in your recipe, because I read it and I was like, I don't know exactly what that is. So,
Yeah, it's a funny word.
it is a funny word. And you have some funny recipe names in there, right?
Yes, I like to have fun, otherwise, why do this?
Yeah, I think that you had a recipe about potatoes frustrating or something like what was
Oh,
it?
yes, to get your frustrations and anger management
Yeah,
potato.
I love that. Anger management potatoes. So these are the kinds of recipes that you have in your share of the recipe book, but you've done this book that you have, it's with you and Shada. So you've
Yes.
got your recipes, and your recipes are mostly inspired by.
Well, there are, I've lived in the US for 30 plus years, so a lot of them are, kind of American, if we could call them. But many of them are influenced by my dear grandmother, who was from Spain. And so a lot of them have the Spanish flavor. And since in my family I have Italian and German backgrounds, there are also those. So there's quite a few, countries.
And that's what I love, because that's what it's so fun to learn new recipes. But really, those types of recipes, I don't see too much of them. And then Shada, as far as whole food plant based recipes,
Yes,
and then
yes, and
Shada,
yeah,
her recipes are inspired by Persian cuisine,
yes,
right? Yeah. So when I said, I don't think anybody's done this. So this is a wonderful, wonderful thing, because we're always looking for some new, and then you learn about different flavorings and spices that maybe you never tried before. So it's just so much fun. So I'm glad that you have that. Okay, so I have another true or false question, and maybe some of you already know the answer. Green Warriors, Gustavo is a concert pianist. What do you say, true or false? Okay, they're typing in their answer. And tell us about that, Gustavo.
Well, yes, it is true. Since I was 8 years old when I started my first piano lesson, just a few years later, I guess I was kind of a child prodigy. I don't know. I don't consider myself that, but my teacher said so. After a few years, I did start performing in public, and then with my mother as well, who is also a concert pianist. So yeah, that's my main profession, to teach and perform at the piano.
That's so wonderful. And I never really thought about it. I mean, I guess I should think about it more, but I never, until I read your bio about how physical playing a piano is. We think of people with long fingers, and and have to have some kind of intelligence so that they could read music and
Right.
play two different things at the same time with two hands. But you talked about how that was a physical thing. And before we get into that, I'm going to give one more true or false question. And Green Warriors, what do you think? Gustavo lost over 70 pounds. True or false? And while you're typing that in, Gustavo, tell us about that.
I did. After many years of frustration trying to get away from the uh, processed food addiction that we all have suffered or still suffering at some level. After many years of that, I found the person who saved me, and it was Dr. McDougall. And with him, and the help of others, but mostly with him, I lost 75 pounds. So it's true.
That's just so wonderful. So now I want to circle back to how we were talking about how being a pianist is a very physical thing. It's not just requiring brains of playing two different things with your fingers and hands, but it's physical. So tell us about that, because I don't know if people really think about that. You think about drums as physical, but you don't think about so much as piano. So tell us about that and how that affected you when you were 75 pounds heavier.
Yes, yes. Well, playing a little song or happy birthday, that's not going to be, very, uh, it's not going to take a lot of energy. But when you're performing the big works of Beethoven and Chopin and Brahms and Liszt, and you have playing the piano, yes, it all ends here, but it goes all the way through the forearm, the elbow, the shoulders, the back, and even really your whole body. You're using your legs with the pedals, and to express, you have to involve the whole body. Sometimes there are passages that require so much energy from all of the torso that if you are in a bad shape, you will be, you won't be able to breathe really well. And it is as if someone said once that they had done a study, and that playing something, like a piano recital with advanced music took about the same effort as to climb the Everest. So it takes a lot. And when I was so overweight, not only my stomach got in the way, because many times we have to cross hands when we play the piano. So I would get in the way, but I would be out of breath. And of course, I would always be able to get away and, and do the concert or the recital. But it wasn't a good feeling. I wanted to be fit and feel well.
Yeah. And maybe over time you didn't realize it as much until maybe when you started to lose the weight, then you probably realized, wow.
Yes, yes. I started to feel, to feel good again, and to feel like I wanted to play again, because for a couple of years I didn't travel. Another taxing things that people who give concerts have to deal with is the traveling schedule. I would sometimes travel to 3 or 4 states and 2 or 3 countries, go to China, they go to Singapore, they go to Finland. It takes a lot to do all that. So yeah, it definitely helped to get back to a healthy weight.
So I would imagine with all the traveling, it wasn't easy to find, well, maybe you didn't think about finding food that was healthy. So when did all this start were you always overweight, or did it start in your
No, I think that like many people that probably are watching this program, we go do the yo-yo, So I would have times when I would be leaner, and then I would gain, and then I would lose, depending on what diet I was trying. And so, yeah, I mean, I've been performing for 40 years, and I've been whole food plant-based for 12 years. So before that, it wasn't an issue. But after that, in the last 12 years, when I travel, it just takes some planning. And this is something that everybody needs to understand. If you want to succeed in anything in life, but in this case, in health, you have to plan. We can't just walk in any restaurant and eat whatever like other people do. We have to plan. So I just planned. I always, when I travel, and I still do, I always look on the internet for supermarkets or grocery stores, restaurants. I try not to go to restaurants very much, and I always choose an Airbnb so that I can have access to a kitchen, and then I take some things that I can pre-make. But yeah, it's not difficult, but it takes planning.
Those are really great strategies, and I think I've been doing since 2012. And it just takes time to learn over the years. But now, I mean, we started a while ago. Now there's just so much more information, and
Yeah.
you can see people like you that you do interviews and you have programs, and we can just learn a lot more about it. So, but you also struggled with the processed food addictions, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Did you struggle with processed food addictions?
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, remember that that dopamine release that we get from processed foods is as addictive as just about any heroin or any other drug. Once you start messing with nature and combining salt and sugar, or sugar and fat, or salt and fat and sugar and flour, then it's you're creating an atomic bomb. I always tell people, in nature, you will never find anything that combines more than one thing. It is either a fruit that has sugar, but it doesn't have fat or salt, or, it is a potato, I don't know, just anything that you think about only has one element. It either has sodium, or it has some, sugar but not processed, or it has fat like nuts, but they don't have salt unless you add salt or sugar. So that's the food that we're made to eat. That's the food that our bodies can take. Our bodies don't know what to do when we start combining those things. So yes, I struggled, and I still do, because I'm human. I mean, sometimes I see something that looks good, that has a memory from the past, because dopamine is very good at giving us a memory so that we remember where to get that thing. Okay, so I still struggle. I just have learned strategies that I share in my videos, in the book, that have helped me. But I mean, like any addiction, we're never 100% safe. We always have to be on the guard.
Yep. Those addictions are always just doing those push-ups in the corner, waiting for us to let down our guard. And
Yes,
right there.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited about the fact that you're going to do not only the recipe that you have that you gave in the book, but also one that Shada gave. And so this is going to be very, very exciting to see. And
Yeah.
So
Well,
which one? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Shada and I are just, we always say, she says I'm the brother that she never had, and I say, well, you're my sister, because that we have a wonderful relationship, and she's a wonderful person, and I admire her determination. She really is laser focused. I sometimes eat things that are a little more calorie dense, not it's always plant based, but sometimes I may eat a little bit of bread, sometimes I may have a little bit of chocolate. It's not every day, it's not all the time, but I mean, Shada is like, I admire her. She's no way. So yeah, she's wonderful. And so for both of us, making simple meals is one of the big secrets for this to work, because none of us are chefs. Well, I mean, some of us are, or but most people don't want to spend hours in the kitchen. So we want simple meals. We want affordable meals, but we want the flavor, and mostly we want fiber, because we know that fiber is the main way that we detoxify and that we reset our taste buds. So all of our recipes keep the fiber intact. And that's the whole part of the whole food plant-based. I see a lot of people that follow a plant-based diet, but they have gone to a more processed version, and they tell me, I follow a whole food plant-based diet and I can't lose weight. And then when I start looking at what they eat, it's like, you're not eating whole foods. You're still eating processed plant-based, and that the calorie density of that is too high. So anyway, we focus on that. That's part of the book, eating, whole foods and plant-based.
Yeah. And writing a book together, that is definitely a test of a relationship. So
Yes.
it's probably pretty stressful, and you're not under the same roof all the time. So, and are on the same time zone, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly.
But you made it work.
Yeah, yeah. We made it work. It took almost 2 years, and it really was a humbling experience. I never thought I was going to write a book, and so, but we both thought that we had very unique stories. She coming from one part of the world, I came from another. We both made the U.S. our home, and and we didn't want to give up the flavors that we grew up with. Of course, we still love some of the food, the more American food. But we also wanted to keep some of the foods that we grew up with. But some of those foods had animal products and oil, so we made it work so that we could still have the flavors, but not the damage that food causes.
It's so true. So tell us about what you are going to be making today.
Well, okay, so let me get the book here. Believe it or not, we, people, I've worked with chefs as well, and no matter how well known a chef is and how many times they've made something, we still go to the recipe because it's very easy to leave out an ingredient.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and it's the same with music. I play a lot by memory, but I always go back to the score because it's a constant reminder of how the music goes. And I see cooking as a symphony of flavors. So I'm putting together all of these flavors. So on page 88, those of you who have the book, and by the way, there is a bonus PDF that it's not being advertised anymore, but for today, Amy, Shada, and I decided that if anybody gets the book, we will go ahead and send the bonus PDF. The bonus PDF has some of our best recipes, really, that didn't make it into the book. Shada put 5 of her Persian rice recipes there. I've tried every single one of them, and they're divine. And I put 5 Argentine desserts for those who have a sweet tooth. So,
how nice.
Anyway,
and I also want to tell people later on, we're going to be talking about it, but you guys have donated a copy of this book for a book giveaway.
Yeah.
And there's going to be information about that in the description about how you can have quite a few chances to enter to get a copy of this book. But you can also go ahead and get it, but that won't come with a PDF, I don't think.
Yes. And if anybody has bought the book and didn't get the PDF, send an email. The email, though, I don't know if later you can put it in the notes or something, but it's LYHL. That stands for Live Your Healthiest Life. LYHL.
Just like the book. So there's the acronym for the book.
Yeah, LYLS, and then the word bonus at yahoo.com. If you send us the proof of purchase, then you can get this beautifully designed.
How nice.
Yeah.
That is so nice.
It has photos and it has the recipes, and it's wonderful. So I'm going to make on page 88, this is Shada's recipe, the mango black bean bowl. So I'm excited because I am going to be able to eat that for dinner tonight.
Yeah. That's one of the benefits of doing a recipe demo. It's a lot of work getting all these things together and getting it on camera, but at least you get to eat it.
But Shada chose this recipe to show people how you can put together a meal in 5 minutes, and it's not complicated. And then the one that I'm making requires a little bit of cooking, but it's also very simple to make. And it's on page 151, and it's called Gustavo's Versatile Menjunje. So that is a funny word, even in Spanish, because it means, let's see how I can explain it. Like, a witch's brew, when the witch is there, throwing things together there and making the brew. Well, we kind of call that a menjunje. It's a mixture. It's a mixture of things. So that's why I called it that way. It's sometimes I throw in things a little bit different, so it varies. But there are two ingredients that are always there, and that's the onion and the greens. And then there are others. So should we get started then with
let's get started.
demo?
And
Okay.
While Gustavo is getting to get ready for that, he's going to change his camera position. And while he's doing that, I'm going to talk to you guys. First of all, we have a lot of people watching on Instagram today, and I wanted to give a shout out to all that. And that's 510 Jules, Kitty Carey, Mindfully Susan. Greetings, all of you guys. Turf YF and Sandy Cott. I think I'm saying that one right. Sandy Cott. Sandy Cecil. Yeah, she just joined. And Tammy, not really into this join. And Vegan Knowledge, JJ. Greetings, JJ. I see that you're there. And I think also on Instagram, Cheryl Roth, one join. So we've got a few people over there watching on Instagram. And of course, I do want to give shout outs to everybody. Oh, we have RKO, Supreme Crystals of Heroic Mastery. Let's be green. Yes, greetings to you. And Gina has been watching us here on this, and also Mona. Greetings to all of you. And if you want to give a shout out to us, we would appreciate it, because I know more people are watching than are commenting. And I see Roxy. Greetings, Roxy. So I wanted to give a shout out to the people that have made comments that I can see. But I think other people are also out there. So if you are, just say hi. And if you could just tell us where you're watching from today. So just go ahead and tell us that in the comments. And we would love to see, because I always love to see where people are watching from, because we get to see all those. Oh, let me just see. Okay, I thought I had another comment. Yeah, so if you could tell us that, where you're watching from today, that'd be great. And that's my question. So type your answer in the comments. And Gustavo, how's it going?
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, I'm going to put that on full screen so we can just. Oh, it didn't work. So somehow we lost your.
Okay.
So
Let me.
He's going to fix that. So, and I also wanted to ask the Green Warriors, what's your favorite plant-based ingredient to cook with? And tell us in the chat what that is. So if you could go ahead and do that, that would be very interesting to know. I know that for me, I mean, Gustavo was talking about onions, and as far as when I'm making, not making desserts, I think that onions are just an important part of what we eat as far as flavor. Although there are some people that don't care for onions. Oh, look, we're back to this beautiful pan. And Gustavo, you don't have any oil in there, right?
No. So no oil. So to save time, a little bit of time, I have already put the onions and the red bell peppers on medium heat to saute. So this recipe has one large onion chopped, and it has one small red bell pepper, chopped as well. And so, like I said, I've already, it's been cooking while we were talking. So what I'm going to do now is add the garlic. The garlic is usually 4 or 5 garlic cloves. But since I love garlic so much, I always put more. I put 6 or 7, and so I'm going to add the garlic.
I see in
Now,
a lot of recipes that people don't put the garlic in first.
right, because the garlic has some really good antioxidants and other very good elements in it that if it cooks for too long, it will damage them. So you want to put garlic in the middle or at the end of the recipe, okay? And so the garlic is there. So now comes the mushrooms. I love mushrooms because of the nutrition and because it's one of the few things in nature that has vitamin D. And I think for
Yeah,
some reason I keep losing. Okay.
so we got you back. Yes,
Okay.
vitamin D. People don't think about mushrooms as having vitamin D.
Right. It's the only really thing in nature that I know of that has vitamin D. So um, I just go back and forth. Sometimes, sometimes I put 6 or 7 mushrooms. Sometimes I put a little more. Sometimes I don't put any, and I just go with the onions and garlic and peppers and the greens. But I love mushrooms. So if you don't like mushrooms, I would say, well, maybe you could try some eggplant, maybe some zucchini, but we all know the texture of the mushrooms and the flavor is very unique. And actually, once it's cooked, you can barely tell that they're there. So that's the mushrooms. And then comes the greens. The greens can be any of the greens that you like: kale, spinach, spinach. Amy, I don't know why I'm having trouble with
Yeah,
the
well, we'll
camera.
just keep switching back and forth until you get the thing back on there. But yeah, I like mushrooms. Some people don't. I think that if you cut them up very finely and you cook them down, like you said, Gustavo, you probably won't notice them too much in there. And they have this flavor profile called umami. And so mushrooms add this other flavor because you have sweet and salt and acidic kind of flavors, but that's what mushrooms do. So it's just so
Right.
wonderful. Let's see if you switched over to another camera.
Yeah, I don't know why my Logitech camera is
Yeah,
not.
sometimes technology is, you just can't be a technological expert and a concert pianist and a cookbook author and a weight loss success and all these other things that you can be. You just can't be all these things.
I know it's so sometimes that I want it. I want to.
Yeah, so every once in a while you can just tilt the frying pan toward the camera so we can just kind of take a look. Yeah. And then we can see. That looks so
So
beautiful.
it is very delicious. So, but the main thing here is that I always, in my 7-day program, we focus on learning how to eat greens the way Dr. Esselstyn wants us to eat greens for the production of nitric oxide, so that if we have any damage in our arteries, it can start to be reverted, otherwise, or reversed. And if we don't have any damage, then that's good. Then
Yeah.
we won't have any. But the nitric oxide comes from the greens. And I was saying the greens can be kale, spinach, Swiss chard, it can be asparagus, it could be broccoli, it can also be cauliflower, even though it's not green. It could be a lot of different, cruciferous kind of vegetables. And so this is a great way to eat greens because there's so much flavor here. So today I chose kale. Let me bring the kale.
Okay. While he brings over the kale, Gina said, fun fact, if you put mushrooms in the sun after chopping, they'll absorb more vitamin D. Wow. The sun is just so powerful, isn't it? And it's so healing,
That's
and it
right.
does so many things that we don't even think about sometimes.
So here is kale that I chopped. Now, this is going to look like a lot of kale. And it's kind of scary to see so much because you think, how am I going to eat all of this? But the thing is, it reduces to half or less than half once it's cooked. So I'm just going to kind of make sure that it's all mixed together. And this is how we eat our greens. And the reason why it's versatile is because this can go on top of a baked potato. This can be, you can eat this on top of rice. You can have it as a side to something else. You could add beans to this and make it a meal. So you can use it in many different ways. Remember that a serving of greens is the size of your fist. It's not much. So don't be scared when Dr. Esselstyn or I say, aim for 5 or 6 servings of greens a day. You can easily do that. So this is going to start turning a beautiful bright green here.
Oh, it looks so lovely, and it's already starting to cook down, and that's what I love. I'm going to put that on full screen here. Ooh, look at that. But it's going to cook down. Yeah.
While this is cooking, so I'm going to cover and put it on medium here. This is a wonderful kind of cookware that doesn't need water so that the nutrients stay there. So now what I'm going to do is make this salad while that is cooking.
Okay.
And for that,
so while Gustavo gets that other, he's doing a lot of things in the kitchen here. So he's gonna adjust his camera. And while he is adjusting his camera, I have another question for you, Green Warriors. And that question is, have you ever tried adapting a traditional family recipe to make it whole food plant-based? And maybe you can tell us what that particular recipe was. I'd be interested to know. Because that's sometimes what we do is we're trying to recreate things that we haven't had for a long time or that we're used to having. And so I think Gustavo's ready with his bowl. Are you ready there, Gustavo?
I am. So
okay, great.
Here we have the mango black bean bowl or salad. And this is really, once you have the ingredients, it's just a matter of combining them. So here are the ingredients. 2 cups of cooked, sorry, that's not it. 2 cups of cooked quinoa or brown rice. I chose red quinoa. Quinoa is truly a miraculous grain. Well, some people say it's not a grain, whatever we want to call it, but it has so many benefits for our health that I chose the quinoa this time. And I had a little bit of the regular quinoa, but this is mostly red quinoa. And I have 2 cups and it's already cooked. Okay. So that, remember, so it can be quinoa or brown rice. Then we need 1 medium red bell pepper that is diced small, and half a cup of roasted corn kernels. So I have both of them here. It's just so colorful. Now we're going to start seeing, just looking at this,
Wow,
you can
look at all those colors.
So the next thing that goes in here is half a cup of fresh lime juice and the zest of 1 lime. So I've already tested the lime and gotten the juice. This is fresh. I didn't buy it in a bottle. And next, she says to go ahead and add 1 large mango. Ooh, that makes it.
Oh, mangoes are so awesome.
Okay. Oh, yum. I cannot wait to eat this. Okay. So you see, when you want to eat something that you're craving, you always have to ask yourself, what am I really craving? And so if you're craving, pastries or something, then you're craving sugar. So then you make a salad that has natural sugar and fiber and water. If you want salt, you make something else. So you just identify what it is that you're craving, and you find an alternative that is not highly processed junk food. Okay, so there that is. And now we need 1 can or a cup and a half of black beans. I cook my own beans, so that's a cup and a half. If you don't like black beans, you can put any other.
Yeah, I cook my own beans too. What about you, Green Warriors? Let me know in the comments. Do you buy the beans from the grocery store, or do you cook your own? I like to cook my beans in the Instant Pot. How do you cook yours, Gustavo?
Yeah, I usually just cook them on one of these pots that I have now that I've found, because they cook at lower temperatures, and I like I've been learning more about keeping the nutrients in the food, and so but it doesn't matter. It's always better to cook them, because you know what? Canned beans are cooked in the can. I didn't know that. They're
Uh-oh.
not cooked in some kind of pot and then put in the can. They're cooked at high temperatures inside the can.
But
That's,
but the
you know,
cans have a a lining in it.
I know. So, it's still okay. I mean, if one day for some reason you can't get a
Yeah,
hold
oh,
of
it's better than drive-through. Absolutely.
right. We have to keep that in mind. It's always better than the junk food. But
Yeah.
if you can cook your beans, and remember, you can cook large batches of beans and freeze them.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep, that's how we do it in the Green Kitchen. We cook a lot of beans at once, and then we freeze them after they cool. We separate them into 1 cup portions, and we freeze them that way. And then this way, when we need a cup of beans, we just go in the freezer. It doesn't take long. They thaw out, or you could heat them up and thaw them out, and it's just a wonderful thing to have. And and when you cook your own beans, especially if you're avoiding salt, you can add seasoning. Do you add any seasoning to your beans when you cook them, Gustavo?
Sometimes I do, because I like that, and sometimes since I'm going to make other recipes,
Yeah.
I don't. But I like to add Mexican type of, um, spices. Sometimes I add other Indian spices, different kind of spices, or just garlic powder, and something like that. Okay, so to this salad, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. It says 2 here, but I'm just going to go with 1
Yeah,
and then taste it.
ground cumin
Okay?
is a pretty powerful spice.
Yeah,
I think if I was making it, I'd probably go with the 1,
right.
because it's just everybody's different in their taste.
So now this is chopped cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, because I know a lot of, some people don't, but that's perfectly fine. Then you can go with parsley, or, you know, um, any other fresh herb you can try. So, oh, look at that. We have so many colors here.
That's beautiful. Green Warriors, tell me in the comments, are you thumbs up for cilantro, or I don't think so. Me personally, I'll eat it if it's in the dish, but I won't go out of my way to put it in the dish, but I will eat it. But I do prefer it fresh. If it's dried, coming out of a spice jar, I don't care for it as much, because I guess it's just, to me, it's too intense. Where the fresh cilantro, in my opinion, it's a little bit of lighter of a flavor.
Right. Okay, so the only other thing that you can add here is pepper. I'm going to add later. And I want to go back to the green mixture here. You might have to add a little bit of water if you notice that it's sticking a little. And because we don't want to use oil, oil is highly, it can um, create a lot of inflammation in our bodies. We don't want free oils, oil without the fiber and the water and most of the nutrients. So we don't use oil. And I added some water and look at that beautiful green color.
Wow, that is nice.
So now, every time I make it with different spices because, to vary the flavors. So today I am going to use one of my favorite spices, which is smoked paprika. And I'm going to add a teaspoon here, teaspoon of smoked paprika. And I love oregano. That's something that my grandmother used so much. And so I'm just going to go with a tablespoon of oregano here. It's still a simple. You don't even have to add anything really. And then the other thing I'm going to add, but this is very little because it's very strong, is chipotle chili powder. It's very spicy, very hot. So I'm just going to barely, okay? But it just gives it a smoky flavor as well. And if you all could smell this, and if we could have smell-o-vision instead of
Yeah.
a television, like AJ says, oh my goodness, this is so easy. Here you have about 4 servings here, okay? So most of the times I make way more than what I'm making now because it needs to last the whole day, and I can make even more because it lasts 2 or 3 days in the refrigerator. And that is the menjunje. Okay, you don't want it to be too watery at all. I don't know if you can see, but it's pretty dry in the bottom. There's not a lot of water. If you add any water, it's a little bit to get the sugar, from the onion here unstuck, but that's about it. And you can cook it a little longer if you want the kale to be really, really soft, or you can go like that. Now, I'm going to tell you one more thing I add.
Okay, while Gustavo's, okay, go ahead.
Whenever I can, I add at the very end, I add a few cherry tomatoes or one large chopped tomatoes for men, especially when it's cooked, is a very powerful anti-prostate cancer. Okay, so you want to include cooked tomatoes as much as possible. I mean, men and women, but especially for men, I think it's very important. Okay, so that's it. I turn off the heat and it's done.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Thank you for
It's
sharing that.
yeah,
Yeah, can
it just looks very, very pretty.
you do that one more time? Tilt that. There you go. Oh, so see that color? That's what we need. All those different colors and
We
flavors.
need all those colors. You can use a salt substitute of some kind, or use nothing, or you can use a little bit of salt if you don't have an issue with salt.
Yeah. Well,
Twice
we were
done.
talking about the cilantro, and Gina said, I prefer coriander, but if something has cilantro, it's okay. And she said, I thought coriander was cilantro seed. And actually, coriander is also known as cilantro in its fresh form. And it's been around for thousands of years, but its seeds are known as coriander seeds, and they're used as a spice. So, and then we use the fresh leaves, which is the cilantro, as an herb in cooking. So, herb and spice. Got to try and distinguish them too. But yeah, I think that's probably what it is. Is that for me, and the coriander to me is a little intense, where the cilantro is not as intense. But they're both wonderful things to include in our cooking.
So I want to try. I can't wait.
Oh,
Do you try it?
please try it for us.
Let's see. I'm going to tell you. Yes. You know what is really good about this salad? There are so many textures in there. There's crunchiness of the corn. You bite it, and there's sweetness. The tomato, the beans. Oh, the mango, creamy. Oh my goodness! I think everybody is going to fall in love with that salad.
Yeah.
Love it.
And if you wanted to, you could eat the whole bowl. That's what's so beautiful about this lifestyle, right?
Exactly.
You just have this whole bowl.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. So, hold on.
Yeah, that was just so wonderful.
I'm gonna go ahead and try a little bit of. I have to get some mushrooms here, but and this one is hot. This one is my green mixture. Very good. Very, very good. That oregano does it. That is a secret. Okay, you all need to try that because the oregano does give it a very special flavor to it. So, like I think I mentioned it, but some days, I open the refrigerator, I don't have any mushrooms, and I don't feel like going to get in it. So as long as I have onions, garlic, and greens, I'm good. Okay, and then if I can add the mushrooms and the tomatoes, that's a plus. But I want to be able to eat the greens, and that's it. Okay, but I let me just say something, because I used to do this, and I've gotten away after I've learned a little and research. I was one of those people that cooked their food to death. So I want to encourage people to, if you're doing that, everything was on high for me. And these vegetables, actually, the nutrients are heat sensitive, most of them. Right. And so we go through the trouble of getting in the car, going to buy the stuff, paying for it, coming back, cooking, and then we destroy it. So please, you can still cook the food, but at medium. You don't have to have it at high heat. And that's something that I've learned and that I do. And you will be surprised if you notice the flavors are stronger when you don't cook at high.
And the colors are more vibrant.
Yeah.
Which makes it more appealing to the eye. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you get a little bit of that crunch in there. But it is nice that you can take that kale or other leafy greens and heat them, and then this way it cooks them down, and you, like you said, you get more.
Yes. Yeah. I was going to put more, and then I thought, well, this is too much. But it always surprises me how much it reduces. My goodness, that's like I can eat that in two. That's for me. That's 2 servings. I mean, it's so don't be afraid to cook a large amount. Okay, so that it'll last. Okay.
It really looks so delicious. And for someone starting out, what tips do you have for someone that's just starting out with the whole food plant-based cooking, who might be maybe intimidated by new recipes?
Yeah, don't be a recipe chaser like I was and many people were. I mean, I still collect recipes because I love them, but think about meal ideas. That's what I teach. This is a meal idea because you can change it with whatever you have. They're not recipes. So go with simple, a potato, you can make a baked potato, you can make mashed potatoes, and you can mash it with butternut squash so that it becomes, more creamy. You can, you can do a potato casserole. I mean, there's so many ways to cook a potato, and you always have greens, whether they're in the form of a salad or something like this that you can cook in a batch. You don't have to be cooking every day because you've already done it. So what I say is just go for simplicity. Some people say, well, it's too expensive, it's too time consuming, because they are looking at elaborate recipes, and it doesn't have to be like that. You do need to have a good number of if I showed you my cabinet, I have a lot of spices because
Yes.
we need the food to be flavorful, so we'll eat it. But yeah, just go for simple. My YouTube channel is free. I mean, I tell people, take advantage of it. I have made hundreds of cooking demos, and most of them are simple meal ideas. So just go and get some from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rachel wants to know, what was the biggest challenge you faced when transitioning to a whole food plant-based lifestyle, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I was so desperate, Amy. I mean, I was so desperate. I knew in my mind, I had no doubt that I was going to die soon, that I was not going to make it even, 50 years old. I felt so horrible. I have, in my family, a history of a lot of really bad diseases. So I felt so bad, and I was so afraid, and I wanted to live. And I was so excited when I found the answer, when I knew that I had found the answer, that it wasn't difficult. I wanted it. I've been wanting it for so long that when I found it, I wanted to, I had to hold on to it. It was very helpful to have two people around me who joined me, okay, and I didn't have to fight, my some parents or a partner, or a spouse that wanted to kind of sabotage my efforts. So I was lucky in that respect. But it really, it was just learning the basic ingredients, and investing in 2 or 3 pans that were high quality so that I could cook without oil, because otherwise people get frustrated because everything gets stuck. So the money that you're not going to use buying all that junk food and all the prescription drugs, and all of that is expensive, all that money that you're saving now, you put it into buying good cookware, and then good food. Just remember that in a supermarket, we plant-based eat the least expensive foods. We eat potatoes, sweet potatoes, beans, and rice. Okay, so it really is very affordable. It really was not hard. I was lucky to have a mentor like Dr. McDougall, like Chef AJ, like many other people that were around me, and that helped me. That helped me a lot.
That is very helpful. So speaking of cookware, Mona wants to know, what kind of pan is that you were cooking?
Oh, yeah, no, this one is, I've tried many different pans in 12 years. And finally, I was able to find one that is made with that steel. It's called surgical stainless steel. It's the steel that is made when they have to implant things inside your body, and it won't leak, because then of course it's dangerous. So it's the only pan that I know that uses surgical steel. So it's Salad Master. Catherine Lawrence from Food Saved Me introduced me to those, and that's what I use. You don't use water. It seals without using high pressure. It lets you know when it hits 180 degrees, so it never goes over 200, so your nutrients are there. So that's what I use now, and I'm happy with
Yeah,
that.
like you said, it is an investment. And whenever we, especially in the beginning, if people asked us what we wanted for a birthday or a holiday, something, sometimes we would say, well, if you want to get this gadget or whatever, and that's what we did. And slowly, I think the longer you do it, then you realize, okay, this is not a whim. This is not just something passing. This is my lifestyle, and
That's
I
right.
have this commitment to it. And like you said, I'm not going to, if you added up how many times you went to a restaurant in the month, you could buy lots of
Oh,
wonderful
definitely,
experiences that
definitely.
will last a lifetime if they're good quality.
Yeah. It needs to be good quality. During my 12 years, I've used a lot of different products. I still do, and I just sometimes, I tell people that this is what I use or that. This is the only time that I'm so excited about this cookware that I've become a distributor. So if anybody is ever interested, they can contact me. I do have some discounts that they're giving me that I can pass on to them. So
That's great. That's great. So we are going to be doing a book giveaway drawing today for another cookbook. But before we do
Okay.
that, I just wanted to tell again anybody that's hopping on a little bit later that we do have exciting news. But we're thrilled to announce that we're having this special book giveaway featuring Gustavo and Shada's book, Live Your Healthiest Life, one bite at a time, one meal at a time. And the details for how you can enter for this book will be in the description and also on my website, begreenwithamy.com. And tell us a little bit about the book. I know we talked about it in the beginning, but for people that are hopping on now, if you want to tell them about the book just briefly, and then we'll give you a chance to talk about how we can get in touch with you.
Yeah. Well, this cookbook, we were just thrilled to have so many endorsements like Dr. McDougall, Dr. Barnard, and Goldhammer, and just Kathleen Lawrence, a lot of people that we love and respect. And they all made the same comment, and we were so happy because that's what we wanted to accomplish. What we wanted to accomplish was an unusual type of cookbook where it's more like a storybook, because during a lot of the book here is the story. It goes back and forth. Shada and then Gustavo. Shada and Gustavo. From the time we were born until now. And we tell stories that are fun. Some are really interesting stories that involve our families. And as we tell the story and we get memories from food, we include a recipe that goes with the story. So that's really unique. I've never seen that. And then after we're done telling our stories, then there's the section with all the recipes. But there are recipes included in the story. So that's how the book is designed.
Yeah, that is just so wonderful. And we're going to give you a chance to tell people about how that they can get in touch with you. But for that, I wanted, and you'll get to see what we do when we're going to be drawing for your book, Gustavo. We have a guest that we've had on many times on the broadcast, Esther Loveridge. Isn't she beautiful? Yes. Both inside and out. So she has a book called From Donuts and Potatoes. And we actually did have a book giveaway that she donated a copy of that for us. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to spin and see. We have a wheel that we're going to spin, and we're going to see who. Yeah, we're going to see who won the copy of the book. So let me just see if we can get that on, and we'll share it in just a second. So we're going to put us back on this screen for a minute because I need to pull it up. And if you're excited about this book giveaway, let us know in the comments if you think that you want to try to win the copy of Gustavo and Shada's book. But meanwhile, that's what we're going to do right now is we're going to spin the wheel to see who wins. Oh boy.
Oh, wow.
Isn't this fun, Gustavo?
That is fun. Love it.
And Christine D, you are the winner of Esther Loveridge's book From Donuts and Potatoes. And we're going to be spinning the wheel in the future for your book, Gustavo, your book that you wrote with Shada. So if you guys want to learn how to have a chance to win this book, we're going to get in touch with our winner, Christine B., and get her particulars to send to Esther so she can go ahead and send that copy of the book. But in the meantime, Mona said, congratulations, Christine. Yay. Yeah, I love it. Don't you? Okay. So that's how we try to have a lot of fun here on Deep Green with Amy Live on the broadcast, because that's what it's about. And if you subscribe to deepgreenwithamy.com, you'll get notified about future giveaways. So Green Warriors, if you can click like and show your appreciation for what Gustavo shared with us today, with his story, and he also shared those wonderful recipes, even Shada's recipe he did, which was very, very kind of him to do that. And just go ahead and please click like for him and in the comments. I'd appreciate that. So that's how we applaud here.
Right.
So tell us, Gustavo, how can we find your book and how you can find you on social media?
Yeah, sure. I always tell people that one of the key ingredients for succeeding is staying connected. You've got to stay connected to a group or to people that do this so that you're not alone. If you want to stay connected with me and my group, I just have a YouTube channel. It's called Plantemus or Plantemus. And let's see what else. Instagram as well. Okay, so you can go there and subscribe to that. And then I have a Facebook page that is called Dr. Starch. You have to spell it out. But when you go to the page, it says the Starch Solution because I am a certified Starch Solution coach. So it says Starch Solution, but that's what the Facebook it's called. And then the website where you can go and sign up for my newsletter and my email list is also called plantemus.com. And I want to say why it's called Plantemus. Do you let me explain, Amy?
Yes, that was what I was just, because I said there has to be because you're just creative and fun, right? So there has to be a reason what the origin of this is.
Well, we created this website with my friend. He's a physician in New York. His name is a plant-based doctor, and his name is Diego Ponyman. And we came up with this name, Plant, because it's all about eating plants. And then the MUS is for music, and the E in Latin means and. So it's plants and music, Plantimus. Music. And because many times when I do a cooking demo, and then I play the piano. So I give people a mini concert. And so I like to, those are my two loves in life, is music and healthy eating. And that's why it's called that way. And in that website, I also have the 7-day program. I'm really happy. I'm really proud of this because I started the 7-day program 3 years ago, and I was going to do it one time, and it's turned into an every month thing now. I teach people. We get together live for breakfast and for dinner, and we cook together and we learn together and we share stories and strategies. And it's had, so many people have been able to lose weight and stop their addictions, that I want everybody to know that it exists, because it's based on other programs similar to this. Other programs are worth thousands of dollars. This year, I decided to have no fee. So there's no reason for people to not succeed at this. Okay. So it's based on pay what you can. And if you can't, it's okay as well. But if people are interested, they can contact me through the website or the email, which is info@plantemus.com. And we're starting this coming Saturday with a 7-day program. And it's 14 sessions. You get to keep the replays, the handouts, the recipes, the videos. And it's just great. It's a wonderful program. So I want to encourage people.
So finances are not going to be a barrier here.
Yeah, because sometimes I would get that, and I know. When I went to the McDougall program, I didn't have money. I had to stay for a year and I have to borrow money, but I wanted. And when you want something bad enough, you find a way. So now I took away the money problem.
Mhm.
So if you really want to get back on the wagon and succeed, now you can do it.
It's so interesting because in the beginning of the broadcast, Gina made this comment, and I think it's nice to say it right now. She said, Gustavo is very generous. But she said it in the beginning of the broadcast, but it's very apropos to bring it up now.
Well, I just know the pain. I really know the pain of wanting to be healthy and lose weight and not knowing how and not having somebody that will hold your hand and show you clearly how to do it.
Yeah.
So
That's a wonderful thing that you're offering.
yeah, that's what I'm offering it this year. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Gustavo, for sharing your recipe and doing Shada's recipe, which was very brave, and you did such a wonderful
A
job.
lot of food that I can eat.
Yes, and you really inspired us with your incredible journey. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
So, what's your final take-home message for our Green Warriors today?
Well, something that I tell people that I coach is never, ever give up on health. Because when you give up on health, you give up on life. You give up on your dreams. You give up on everything you love. Because without health, we cannot do anything. I mean, nothing. So we may fall off the wagon. I can't say that I'm 100% perfect all the time. Yeah, I mean, I don't go out and eat a cheeseburger. I don't do that kind of thing. But, we may fall down, but it's one bite at a time, like the book says, and one meal at a time. You fall off the wagon for lunch. Well, the very next bite, you're back on with a fruit, with a baked sweet potato, with something, and you're back on. So we cannot afford to give up because then we're done. So my message is never give up, look for groups and to stay connected and just stay plant-based. Even if sometimes you have to eat something that is higher in calorie and higher in fat content, but stay plant-based.
Yes.
That's the number one thing. Yeah.
I love it. That's so true. Well, Green Warrior, tell us what you're going to remember from today's broadcast. One of my takeaways is that canned beans are cooked in the can. I never knew that. So type in what your takeaway is, or you can type that in if that's one of your takeaways, so that people who are coming back to the broadcast in the future can check out what we've been talking about. I also wanted to thank Just Task Voice. She did the promos. She did the countdown. She did so much in the background to help promote this channel and to get the word out about this lifestyle to people like you that came in today to watch. Just Task Voice, tell us who's coming up next.
Do you feel overwhelmed by stress or struggle to find inner calm? Have you explored how breathwork and EFT tapping could transform your emotional and physical health? Join us as Nikki Perkins shares actionable techniques to help you breathe your way to balance and peace. Wednesday, January 29th, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, on Be Green with Amy Live.
So we also are going to have before that, the Wednesday before that, we're going to be having Dr. Rogers coming on too. So we didn't get the promo ready for this broadcast, but we'll be coming up with that. So if you're subscribed to Be Green with Amy, you'll get the information for that. And I really want to thank you, Green Warrior, for joining us today. Your engagement and support make these discussions meaningful and impactful. And I hope you're feeling inspired to take a closer look at your choices and make positive changes for your health and well-being. Because remember, like Gustavo was saying, every bite we take is an opportunity to nourish our bodies and, like Gustavo and his co-author Shada, become the healthiest versions of ourselves. And please stay tuned for more empowering content. Please subscribe to my channel. Check out all of Gustavo's social media. We're going to have links to that and also to Shada's in the show notes. and share our message with others who you think can benefit, because together as Green Warriors, we can make a meaningful difference in the world. And as a special thank you to all of you, I am offering you 5 free recipes. So you can go ahead to begreenwithamy.com/join, and I will get those out to you one at a time with some other fun things that are happening with that. And while we're on the subject of healing and feeling good, I wanted to encourage all of you to go ahead and take your right hand and grab your left shoulder, and take your left hand and grab your right shoulder. Now squeeze, because that's a hug from me to you, Gustavo, and from me to Shada, because she's probably watching, or at least she might be watching the replay. And we're just so glad that all of you are here with us to become a part of this Green Warrior tribe. And if you would like to join me with Gustavo, because he's going to help me with my tagline, you can help me too at home. Just type it in the comments. Are you ready, Gustavo?
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, until I see all of you again, remember, be strong, be well, and be green. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much, Gustavo. This was just wonderful. And thank you, Green Warriors. We always enjoy having you.
Looking for really tasty recipes that are SOS free? No sugar, oil, or salt. How can it taste good? Well, if you like flavor, then you'll love this Be Green with Amy recipe ebook. Get your copy today. Click on the link in the show notes. Be strong, be well, and be green.